Hi everyone. So in the last video, we discussed how to customize our typography. Okay. Now in this video, we are going to actually combine palette, breakpoints, and typography to create a theme object. Okay. And let's see how we can do that. So we'll create a new file inside this themes folder and I'll call it index.jsx. Okay. Then inside this file, as the name suggests, this is going to be a component. Okay. So I'll write here export default function and I'll call this function theme provider. We have our functional component. Okay, let's now see how we are going to actually write logic inside it. So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to determine what is the current theme. Okay, that means is it light mode or dark mode. Okay, so I'll create this const here is light, and here what we are going to do, we are going to check if theme mode is equal to light. Okay, so there will be a variable called theme mode, which can either be light or dark. Okay. Currently, we don't have any such state. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to hard code this one. Okay. So I'll write here theme mode is equal to light. But as you know, we are going to later on create something. Okay. By which we can toggle this theme mode between light and dark. Okay. And that will actually result into our application changing the whole theme. Okay, now after this is done, the next thing we need to do is we need to create an object. Okay, we need to basically combine different things like palette, breakpoint, typography. So for that, I'm creating an object and I'll call it theme options. Okay, and since this theme options will be dependent on the factor light mode. Okay, that means is light. So we are going to actually make use of this use memo function over here. This is actually a React hook. So what we are going to do, we are going to import use memo. Okay. Then inside this use memo, we are going to pass our callback function. And this callback function is actually going to return an object. And this is the object that will be used to create our final theme. And as for the dependency, okay, dependency will be is light. Okay, so the value of this theme options will be dependent on this factor. Whenever this factor changes, that means the mode is changed between light and dark, then we'll get a new theme options. Okay. So the first thing we need to do over here is define this first property called palette. Now, which palette we are going to use, that depends on whether the mode is light or dark. So I'm checking if the mode is light, then I'm going to use palette. Okay, and for that we also need to import palette first of all. So I'll write here import palette, and this palette is going to come from this palette.js that we created earlier. Okay, so here I'll write dot light. Okay, so in case if the mode is light, then we are going to use light palette, otherwise we are going to use the dark palette. Okay, so palette dot dark, and let me actually rename this. Okay, so I'll make this p small. Here I'll make the change first of all. Now after that is done, we also need to actually pass the typography over here. Okay, so that will be typography like this. Okay, again we need to import that. So I'll write here import typography from typography like this. Okay, and then what we are going to do next is we need to write it over here. Okay, like this, and we can also do it in the one more way. Okay, that is the shorthand property like this. Okay, so after this, similarly, we are also going to add our breakpoints that we define. Okay, let's also import that over here. So I'll write import breakpoints, and that will be slash breakpoints like this. Okay, and apart from these three factors, there are other things like shadow. You can also define custom shadow, direction, shape. Okay, so currently I'm interested in adding this shape property, and that is again going to be an object. It can contain multiple properties. You can look at it in the documentation. Okay, and here I'm just going to add this one property border radius that will be 8 pixel. I'm setting the default border radius to be 8. Okay, and then again there is another property called direction, I'm just showing it to you. Okay, you can do it in your application if you need this feature. So I'm just going to add this variable theme direction. Okay, and as for the theme direction, again, this should be maintained inside the state. Okay, either global or local state. So this theme direction can have two values. Okay, there are only two valid values. First one is LTR, that means left to right. Okay, or it can have the other value which is right to left, that means RTL. Okay, so I'll also write what this means, right to left. Similarly, this one LTR means left to right. So by default, the direction is already set to LTR, that means left to right. Okay, and after that we can also define shadow and custom shadow. We'll do that later on, but for now we just need to make use of this theme option because we have created this but never used it. Okay, so for that I'm going to actually now create our theme. Okay, and this can be done by calling this function create theme, which is going to come from material UI. You can see we have imported this create theme from material UI, and we just need to pass this theme options, okay, that we just created inside this create theme, and that will result into our material UI theme. So now you know how we can define these things individually, okay, and then combine them to create a global theme like this. Then there is one last thing that is remaining over here, and that is to actually return our JSX from this component. And for that, what we are going to do, we'll write this return. We'll be taking a parameter which is children, okay, and that will be our app.jsx, okay, our application component, the root component, and that will be wrapped by some other component. So let's define that over here. So the first thing that we need to write here is styled engine provider, and that is going to come from material UI again, as you can see over here. So this is our styled engine provider. Okay, and as the name suggests, this is going to take care of styling in our application. Okay, so that is why we are going to use it. Okay, then we also need to pass this inject first. Okay, this prop, and you can read more about this component if you want using ChatGPT, or you can also look into the material UI documentation. This component is simply going to make sure that the styling is working as expected in our application. Okay, and after that we are going to again use another component called MUI theme provider. Actually, the name is different. It's called theme provider, but we have already named our component as theme provider. So to avoid clash, we are renaming it to MUI theme provider. Okay, and here we need to actually pass one prop, and that will be theme. And this theme is now used over here. You can see we have passed that theme to MUI theme provider. Now we need to actually import that over here after renaming. So I'll write theme provider as MUI theme provider. Okay, like this. Now there is one last thing that is left, and that is to use this children. Okay, for that what we can do, we can just inject that over here like this. Okay, and here it is complaining that this children is actually missing in prop validation. So we'll look at it. Okay, but before that we need to do one more thing, and that is to add CSS baseline over here. Okay, so CSS baseline, and that is again going to come from material UI. So what the CSS baseline component is going to do, as you know, when we create an application, then some CSS rules needs to be adjusted for different browsers, right? Like we need to do some extra, like we need to write some extra rules for older browsers. So this CSS baseline is actually going to take care of all those things. Okay. Now, let's just actually do some prop validation over here so that this error is gone. Okay. For that, what we can do, we can write over here theme provider dot prop types, and that will be an object. Here we just need to define this property children, and this children is actually going to be a node. By node, I mean like in the virtual DOM tree, there is this is going to be a node, that means a point. which is going to contain all of its children, okay, below the tree. So here I'm going to write prop types dot node like this. But again, we're getting this error because its prop types should be imported, okay, in order to use over here. So I'm just going to write an import statement, import prop types from, and we're not going to actually import it from material UI. We'll be importing it from prop dash types. That is a package, npm package we have already installed, okay. And if you don't have it in your application, then you can just open your terminal, okay. See this terminal. So after this package is installed, we are good to use this component that we just created, which we are calling theme provider. Okay. Now where we have to use this function, okay, this functional component. So that is simple. We just need to go inside our app.jsx file, okay, and whatever we will be returning from this, okay, we need to wrap our theme provider over it. So for now, what I'm going to do, I'll just remove all these things, okay, and I'll write here theme provider, okay, from theme folder that we just created, okay. We have this theme folder, and there is a index.jsx file which contains this theme provider. So we are importing that over here like this, okay. And I'll remove these unused import statements, also this one, and whatever we pass over here, okay, whatever component we pass in between this theme provider, that is going to actually make use of the color palette, typography, breakpoints, and all those things that we defined. Okay. So this is it for this video. I'm just going to write a comment over here that we need to inject components here. That means this is going to be the root of our application. Okay. We are wrapping this theme provider in the root file. You can now save this up, and the theming part is done. But there is one more thing that we need to do over here, and I'll talk about it in the next video. And we'll be seeing how we can customize each and every component as to our, and we'll see how we can customize each and every component to our liking. So thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and also subscribe to the channel if you find this content useful. It takes me a lot of effort to create this content for you. Thank you everyone. I'll see you in the next video.